Hello, welcome to the episode. Today I'm joined by Ben. Ben has accumulated over 700,000 followers across his social media platforms, and today he's going to give you all the secrets on how to build your social media following, how to monetize from this following, and then how to use that following to build a business that for him has been worth over 7 figures. Ask what you do exactly, but you use a few different categories. You said property, you said Lego, you said obviously not Lego, but like you do a few different things. But the main thing is I feel like you teach people how to build their business.
Yes.
Which in essence is what I do, because I do that for gym owners and online coaches. So in like an elevator pitch, what would you say that you do?
Basically, I teach anybody and everybody how to make a little bit of money on the side. There are so many people out there that have gone 9 to 5. And because of pandemic, because of COVID, because of X, Y, and Z, because of the rise in cost of living, they have to make ends meet, and more people are struggling because of it. So what I do basically, I started off my journey with Amazon FBA. For those of you that don't know, Amazon FBA is really simple. It's where you buy products from China in bulk, you bring them over to the UK, you send them over to Amazon's warehouse, and then they will pick, pack, collect, send, deal with the refunds, everything on your behalf. All you have to do is manage the whole process. And that, to me personally, was a great idea because I was working a 9 to 5. I didn't have to get an expensive lease. I didn't have to employ staff. You just manage the whole process. So that's how it started with Amazon FBA. I made decent money there. I left my 9 to 5, and then I realized, hey, because of COVID, because of so many things, other people want to make money as well. Like, I mean, let's be honest, who doesn't want to make money? But the reality is most people don't know how to do it, or they're just confused as to which way to go, which one is best. Because you have a lot of these gurus effectively who will say, yeah, invest in the stock market. Well, guess what? If you invest £1,000 in the stock market, you're not going to become a millionaire because your average rate of return is like 10%. You made £100 this year. Well done. So what I do basically is now I started by making Amazon FBA related content, how to start an Amazon FBA business like I did. And now we're kind of moving more into side hustles in general, because what may work for you, given your skill set, is very different to what's going to work for somebody else. It's like, let's say, an 18-year-old who's got their first job, has got £2,000 and now wants to make a little bit of extra income. So that's what kind of I teach the guidance behind as to, have you considered this? Have you considered that? And this is what we spoke about earlier before the podcast starting. It's just like, for some people, property is not the best way. Maybe investing in stocks and shares is not the best way, but maybe doing retail arbitrage or investing into flipping trainers, PlayStations, Xboxes, consoles, Legos, all these sort of things. There are so many opportunities out there that people don't even know exist, is what I'm trying to educate, basically.
And is it with your system that you actually sell and what you teach, is it for a layman? Is it for anyone who's got like very little knowledge on how to sell online? You can take them from. Same way I take someone who's a personal trainer, they've got no knowledge on any online system. I recently had a PT come on board, and he's never even used, he's never owned a laptop. And I had to get him to do some things on Excel, and he had no clue how to do it. So I had to even send him a tutorial on YouTube on how to do that. So are these beginners that are coming to you?
Yeah. So basically, as long as you have a phone, a laptop, and most importantly, the discipline necessary to make a business work, I am more than happy to help you out. So me personally, I have a course which is basically for Amazon FBA, step-by-step course. And I understand courses have like a very negative connotation to it. Oh, it's just another course. But it's just to make sure that you are up to scratch from a knowledge perspective. And then I do my own personal mentorship. So for a month or for 3 months or for 6 months, basically, I will guide you every step of the way. So I will have mentorship calls with you, I will support you via email, and I will make sure to look over your listings and all that sort of stuff. So basically, put it this way, if you want to go into property, ideally you want to have somebody that has been in property. If you want to learn how to drive, you ideally want to learn from somebody that knows how to drive. Exactly the same thing here. If you're interested in Amazon FBA, I'm here to help you out.
So you sell education, and you sell your knowledge that you have, and then so obviously one of the biggest industries that's grown recently has been educational sales, so e-learning. And e-learning, one side of it is I've got a course and I'm almost just finishing the course now, which is set to come out. But e-learning is how we all learn. Even Harvard University now have e-learning courses. I can actually enroll into a Harvard course online. In the past, the only way to get education was obviously attending somewhere, but now we know it's all e-learning, and this is one of the biggest industries that's grown. So you create, this is the product you sell, but you create attention. Is it all from social media? Where do you get your the eyeballs from?
Every bit is from social media, and you're absolutely right. And I think the one reason why e-learning is so big these days is I believe majority of people have now realized that what you really need to learn in life don't come from school. It doesn't even come from university. You know, the real skills, how to handle stress, how to raise finance, how to start a business, what are the obstacles and stuff like that. That thing comes either from learning from other people or just experience in general. I've done a business management degree in university, didn't learn anything that I actually use today. All of it had to come from knowledge, from mistakes, from experience, and kind of pass it on. But in terms of, back onto your question as to where do I get the eyeballs, so to speak, or where do I get the attention, is by literally by using social media consistently for 3 years now through YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. I don't do any paid ads, and we can talk about that. All of it's organic content. And I think when it comes to social media, a lot of people are saying, oh, how do you start, et cetera, et cetera. You have to think about building a relationship, nurturing a relationship for an extended period of time. A lot of my students that come on, they're like, oh, I've been watching you since April 2021. And I'm like, wow, okay, cool. So it's not something, you don't think that, hey, whatever you're trying to sell, you don't think, hey, I'm going to make a video and somebody's going to buy it tomorrow. That's not the case. You need to start, be continuous, be sort of dedicated continuously to maintain that relationship, and then the sales will start to come.
And it's trust, isn't it? So they're going to build trust with you through the content that you put out.
100%.
So the different touch points that you have with your customers, you're constantly building trust. And that cycle, you know, like there's usually in the old-fashioned way of marketing, you say 7 to 8 touch points of marketing. So I would see a Nike bag, hear it on the radio, see someone talk about it, see someone's trainers, and then I'd be like, now I'm going to buy it. Now with your social media content, you're on it every day. You're posting once a day, twice a day.
Twice a day.
Right. Just to say, obviously for the viewers, you've got close to 700k followers on TikTok, and and then YouTube.
YouTube 17.6 I think thousand subscribers.
And I know having 17,000 on YouTube is a graft. Obviously, the road. Let's say the goal was 100,000 on YouTube. The road to 17,000 is way harder than getting from 50 to 100.
100%.
So, because obviously it starts to snowball.
Absolutely.
And that graph that you put on, how long has it taken you to get to 17,000?
3 years almost.
Okay. Because they usually say it's 3 years to get to 10K.
Yeah.
3 years, 3 times a week, 10K. That's usually what I tell a lot of people that will build a YouTube. So you've done it in a great speed.
Yep.
So
thank you.
The sales that you're making, are they coming from YouTube, TikTok? Because TikTok for me doesn't convert. So does it convert for you, or is it YouTube?
It's a great question. So when it comes to conversion, at the end of the day, put it this way. The way I see sales is I make my majority of my money through Amazon FBA. I do it. I do what you want to do, basically, right? So I don't see it as sales. I have an offer. If you're interested, great, but you're not going to get too many sales calls, text messages. Hey, have you checked that? Have you checked that? So that's the first thing, right? I think people need to stop thinking of sales as how can I force my stuff down your throat, so to speak. So that's the first connotation that I think a lot of people need to get out of. The second one is the way social media personally for me works is all about reputation and building a connection. Nobody in their right mind will ever be able to build a connection with a viewer over a 10-20 second TikTok. TikTok is really simple, is to discover you. That is it, okay? Matter of fact, I'd probably argue that TikTok Live is far more valuable for anyone who's trying to sell something as opposed to continuously creating TikTok videos. Because on a TikTok Live, you get to speak to me like I'm speaking to you right now. There's unedited, unfiltered. You get to know the real me, and this is how connection is really being made. It is only since I started doing TikTok Lives is when my sales have gone through the roof. And the way I see it is like this. It's kind of like a funnel, right? TikTok is at the very top where people discover me. Then they move on to my YouTube where they get to learn a little bit more about me and what exactly do I teach, what do I provide, and so on. And then they'll move on to my sales effectively. So it's the mentorships, it's the Discord, it's the courses, and that sort of stuff. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to do TikTok and I'm going to sell a whole bunch of stuff, unlikely, because you haven't built that connection, that reputation over a long period of time. You kind of, ideally, I think you should always have some sort of form of long form content, whether it's a TikTok Live, whether it's podcasting like what we're doing, or potentially YouTube long form videos in general, because that is the only way people are going to get to know you, the real you, really. Even though the videos are edited and stuff like that, it's a big, big difference. And the last thing I just say as well is that TikTok is very easy. Instagram and Reels are very easy. Making a 20, 30-second clip is dead easy. Try doing YouTube continuously for years and years and years and build up a video when you're speaking to a camera for 10 to 15 minutes. That's the real work. That's difficult, but that's what makes the difference.
Yeah. And if I've taken the time to watch your YouTube and I've given you all those watch hours, I'm probably going to buy from you. Because if I keep watching you, it's relentless, isn't it? If 100%. I keep watching you, eventually I'm going to think, okay, I give in. Yeah, I'll buy it.
100%. And the thing is with YouTube as well, and we can talk about different strategies of how to do better TikTok content or YouTube content and stuff like that. But what you ideally want is to have some sort of binge-worthiness to your YouTube videos. So what do I mean by that is when I finish a tutorial, I will always link it to another video. And then that will push them onto another video. And then that video will push onto another video. So all of a sudden you realize you just watched 3-4 pieces of content. So you hook the viewer into the next one. That is what helps the algorithm. You ask questions, you try and get comments out of people as well to help algorithm. I see a lot of people that very few go from short form content to long form content. Even when they do go to long form content, they realize how difficult it is. There are many, many mistakes along the way that I'm still making myself. I'm still learning the game as well. Like for example, very recently, I realized that my videos, most of it is a talking head, right? Most of our communication is done through body language, right? So when I'm speaking a point, am I going to sound scripted and say word for word, or am I going to come across more natural, speak in like body language wise, right? That's how you build even a deeper connection. So I think with social media, if you're serious about it, it's continuous learning all the time.
It is continuous learning because you keep stacking skills. Like, do you know, when you think about, I'm going to build 700,000 on TikTok, you don't think I need to learn body language. You don't think I need to learn video editing. You don't think I need to learn all these 10 other skills that go alongside you being like efficient on social media. And you have to keep stacking these skills. So like for someone who's like lost and they feel like they're not, because I get many people who haven't been able to build a business and they've either failed trying to do it themselves and they want like a fast track and a shortcut. Obviously there's no shortcut, but paying someone who's a mentor is a type of shortcut because all the scars that you had to go through, all the knowledge that you've gained, if I just pay you one time, I shortcut all of that. So you can't shortcut life in a lot of ways, but that is a cheat code.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, it's just like, and a lot of people will be, for example, for my mentorship, so why do you charge so much? Why do you charge so much? Well, because number one, I've done it for 5 years. Number two, I've probably lost about £50,000 of all the mistakes that I've made. Do you want to go through that? No. So trust me when I tell you that what I'm charging you is nothing compared to what there is a good chance of you coming in terms with, right? So if you can just avoid some mistakes, and no mentor will ever say to you, hey, you're going to avoid all the mistakes because I will teach you everything and you're going to be perfect. It's not going to happen. But just by reducing the amount of mistakes you'll make and by speeding up your learning, it's money well spent, in my opinion.
And I can tell you're forever changing as well. So you're learning because on TikTok recently, you just transitioned more to reaction videos. Where before you were talking directly to the camera. So what brought that change? Why did you start reacting? And like, why is that better than what you were doing before?
So many reasons. I'll give a few. So first one is majority of my content is educational. I don't know about you, but I found school very boring. I found university fucking boring, right? So what I realized is that my videos will be boring as well, regardless of what I say. I have to change it up a little bit. I have to add entertainment to a certain degree in order to teach people, but at the same time feel like, they found it funny, so and found entertaining, and just 30 seconds, whatever they spent watching my video, is well worth it. So that's the first thing, bring in entertainment. The second one, I don't know if you watch on TikTok, but basically there are a lot of videos now where somebody's going to be saying something and there's like a video game underneath it or something like that to keep your attention.
Yeah, I've seen it. Usually a roller coaster or something.
Yeah. And you're like, what the hell? But then all of a sudden you're like, Jesus Christ, like I can watch this or I can see this. And it psychologically, it helps. Same thing with reaction videos. You can watch me or you can watch what I'm reacting to. So that helps. Then also I think, and this is the big one, this is what made me go from 140 at the end of the year to almost 700 now, 5 months later, and it's really simple. It is understanding your audience. Like, I can't stress this enough. That is the cheat code of all cheat codes, is understanding your audience. And what I mean by that is really simple. My subject is finance, right? Now, finance is extremely broad. And what you say to a 40, 50-year-old and the advice you give is going to be very different to what you say to a 15-year-old, 16-year-old. The language you use is going to be very different to a 15, 16-year-old, right? So, for example, 50, 60-year-old gentleman who's been working for 20, 30 years, he may not understand what I mean by escape the matrix. He may not understand what I mean by when I say brokey and all these sort of things. The younger ones will, right? Yeah. And this is how you build that connection, is by understanding who your audience is. And how to do you understand the audience? It's really simple. By reading the comments, responding to the comments, asking questions. What did you like about it? When was the last time you put up a video and somebody says, great video? What did you like about the video? Yeah. What did you not like about a video? Right? What did you think? And so on. That is valuable information. That's crucial information. That is your audience giving you back information, right? So most people don't do that. But also kind of understanding that, okay, finance for me is a big subject. I'm going to focus on the younger generation because that is apparently where algorithm is pushing my content to. So 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, those sorts of younger ones who understand that school is a scam, understand that they're not going to be making a lot of money by doing a 9 to 5, and therefore they have to do something about it right now. They may not get good grades in school. They may not understand the importance of chemistry, biology, Chinese history, and all that sort of stuff, right? But they want to still educate themselves and learn the right things you need to do. So, in my opinion, okay, what can I do to connect to that? What can I do to make sure that I show them that I understand what you're going through? So, for example, at TikTok, really simple is, hey, if you're young and you want to make money, here are 3 things you can do right now, right? Yeah. And I'm young, I want to make money, I'll watch this. Another one, school is a scam. Here are the lessons you really need to learn. Well, yeah, I believe school is a scam. Absolutely. Okay, what do I need to learn? Right. So if you get those hooks in, you will captivate the audience a lot better. And also, it's just like, if I'm speaking to a 17, 18-year-old, right, I'm going to be giving them advice of budgeting, of making sure that, you know, how to increase going for £500 to £1,000. That is very different advice and very different topics to a 50-year-old who wants to know more about credit cards and wants to know more about property and stocks and shares. Yeah. A 15-year-old doesn't care about stocks and shares. And I've done that experiment, is by posting some stocks and shares videos on my videos, crashed completely. And the algorithm then says, okay, it's very simple. If the person has liked your 1 video, 2nd video, 3rd video, they will push your 4th video to them as well, because chances are you'll like it. But if you do 1 video, it hits the audience, but then the 2nd one doesn't, the 3rd one doesn't, maybe the 4th one does. Who knows if your 5th one is going to be pushed to that audience again? Yeah. So it's really understanding who you're talking to. On a deeper
level, it's brand identity. You know your brand, you know who you're targeting, you know your mission, you know your core values for you. And you speak to just that one person. Mm-hmm. You don't, and obviously, you know, if you think of the average age of reading and writing in the UK, it's actually very low. It would surprise you how low it is. So you're not going to speak to this, you're not going to use really intelligent words that will just confuse your listener.
100%.
So you know exactly how to talk to them. Yeah,
try to keep it as basic as possible. Don't exclude anyone by using really extensive language, because that will just turn people off. It just goes back to understanding your audience and what they're going through.
And you seem to have perfected the hook and the call to action. So you have a very good, in a lot of your videos before the reaction ones, because reaction ones don't usually involve a hook. The hook is actually the image, what you're reacting to. But in your other videos, you throw out a very fast hook. So how do you actually come up with a hook that's short and sharp? I'm pretty decent at copywriting, so I actually know a bit about hooks, but the way you deliver your hooks is actually so sharp. So how have you developed that skill, and what kind of advice can you give to someone who needs to give a really good hook to their content?
First of all, it came through trial and error. Secondly, I do have quite a few friends who are in social media as well, and I kind of asked them, hey, what do you think of my videos? And I'll never ever forget this. Somebody looked at my video, and I'm not going to mention their names, but they looked at my video, and the first second they were like, I'm bored. I'm bored. Like they didn't watch the whole thing. They didn't even watch the first 5 seconds. They were just like, oh, I'm bored. So it's like, right, okay, so I need to hook or say something interesting or intriguing that will go from scrolling to, oh, that. Oh, that's what I want, right? And then you kind of have to start thinking, okay, what can I do? Can I say something that may necessarily get me to controversy, but something that is punchy enough? So for example, I like your top. Well, no, on TikTok, I don't like your top. I absolutely fucking love your top. You know, if I don't like your face, I fucking hate your face, right? And this is the kind of push that we have to go a little bit to more extremes, because people will watch it because you're passionate about what you're saying. They may agree, they may disagree, doesn't matter, but they will watch it. That's number one.
And in a deeper logic, you know, we are doing media. What you're doing is media. And in the old way of newspapers, the more shocking and sharp the headline was, the more chance of me selling that newspaper.
Of course.
And our version of that now is just this hook.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you know, probably better than me, negativity sells. And it just, if you can just analyze your statistics, you will see that my negative reactions do better than my positive ones. But you, at the same time, you have to think about your reputation as well. If you just continuously bash people down and be negative, you're going to develop a reputation of an arsehole. Right. So you have to keep that, you know, that fine balance, really. But it's a sweet science. At the end of the day, social media is a sweet science. What I'm saying to you today may not even work 6 months from now. The reality is, what you need to do is you need to figure out who your audience is and then come up with a theory. Okay, I'm going to say something crazy in the first 5 seconds of every single video for the next week or so, and then see how that works. If it doesn't work, okay, I'm going to change my background every single time for the next 10 videos. See if it works. If it doesn't work, okay, I'm going to try and think maybe tone of voice. I'm going to change my tone of voice. I'm going to be louder, or I'm going to be quieter, you know, or I'm going to not even look at the camera when I just start speaking. Do 10 videos and see how it works. Is having these sorts of theories and trialing and testing is how you're going to mold your way in. The problem is, sometimes I see creators, and there are creators that have been on the game longer than me, but I've now, unfortunately, it doesn't matter, but I've outgrown them. And the reason why is because they stick to the same thing time and time again, and it doesn't work. My reaction videos might not work a month from now. I have to think of what else.
You're willing to change.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's the ego, of letting go of the ego that I don't know what works, but the market dictates what I make.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is also as well, so I have had criticism, which is fair but understandable, is that reaction videos are super easy to do. Which is true, right? I have to look at a video, I have to think of a reaction, I have to think of something captivating, but I don't have to go out the studio, I don't have to plan extensively and stuff. But in my personal opinion is, this is what market wants, this is the views that it's getting, and therefore I'll do it. If the market doesn't like these videos anymore, and they don't vote with their viewership, then I'll have to change. It's as simple as that. So what I think about my own videos doesn't matter. It's what you guys think.
The same way with what you sell.
Yeah.
The market dictates what you sell. The customer tells us what to sell.
And the price as well.
A lot of the times, people think when it comes to sales, they think we're dictating what we sell. It's not.
No.
The market dictates.
No, of course not. When I put it this way, and I'll be completely transparent, when I started off, my social media was literally in the 250 subscribers. I was charging people 240, 250 pounds for a month of mentorship. So basically they get a 1 hour call and they get a month of mentorship. Now I charge 149 pounds for a 1 hour consultation call. Why? Simple, because the demand is now greater. And my time is very valuable, and therefore, because the demand is greater, I have to push up my prices in order to provide that same amount of value. It's simple as that. So that's why people are like, oh, your prices were different back then, like a year ago. Yeah, because there's more demand now, number one. Number two, inflation.
And in my eyes, it's a bargain, because if I learn one thing and it makes me thousands of pounds for 149 quid, that's a bargain.
I've saved people so much money. I've said, like, people think 149 sounds like a lot, but the amount of value you can provide in that hour is insane.
It's the same with consulting gym owners, online coaches. If a gym owner, like just a simple change with rubber matting, you can buy rubber matting, horse stable mats. You could buy rubber matting from on a website where most people go. You can go to China. But where do you buy them? It can save you £20,000, £10,000 a lot of the times on knowing where to buy this matting from. If one person's going to tell you just that one change, think of how much money it's going to save you.
Absolutely. And I'm glad I agree that it's money well spent. But then the question is, there are so many PTs out there. There are so many physios. There are so many even Amazon FBA gurus and all that sort of stuff, right? How are you going to make sure that people go for you as opposed to somebody else? And that comes from reputation, building trust, your own results as well, which I'm very, very big on. I've got no problem sharing my results sharing videos, screenshots, or whatever, and time, patience, really. Because the reality is that there is a lot of people out there that say they may be a guru. You'll spend thousands of pounds with them. They will give you a few videos and then leave you alone. Right. So having that reputation, to me personally, reputation is everything, because I mean, ask Jake Paul what he thinks about reputation when he got cancelled back in 2017, right? There's so many people that can get cancelled like that. And once that's gone, good luck.
And you only get one reputation. And like when it comes to making money, look, there's 4,000 new millionaires every single month in America. There's 4,000 people who have ever climbed Mount Everest ever in the history of time, which means now it's easy to make £1 million more than it is to climb Mount Everest. So now when you think about it that way, it's like your reputation you're only going to get one of. But money will come and money 100%. Will go.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the reality is like, that's a great analogy, by the way. I'll definitely keep that. But also thousands and thousands of years ago, is one of the most important things, most valuable things that were out there was books, it was education. It wasn't money, it was actually books, right? People were clamoring for books. Now, because everything is online and everything is so easily accessible, I feel like a lot of us lost we don't value it as much as we should, to be completely honest. Which I find quite interesting, because we take, I think, the internet and a lot of the things that we have for granted.
So I've understood the top of your funnel, TikTok.
Yes.
And now the next stage is YouTube. So usually I see people sit in a few different categories of YouTube. Someone who's going to start, who's thinking about starting, is nervous in front of the camera, has always wanted to do it, has been procrastinating. And I sat in that bucket for a long time. And then the next person is someone who started, doesn't really know what to do. And then the next stage is someone who's done it, failed, made over 100 videos and found their way. There's 3 categories. So now you're in the third category, which is you've made over 100 videos. You've now got a decent following. So how do you move through these different stages?
Oh, God, that is a good question. So first things first, there is a very good saying of a channel. I can't Think Media, I think.
Love Think Media.
And they say, just press record. Stop overthinking it. You're never going to find the best time.
Isn't that their tagline when you
just press record, right? And that's great advice. It's so simple, but it's so great at the same time, because guess what? You're not going to be ready. How do you think people get comfortable in front of the camera? Like you don't be born with comfort. I'm not comfortable in front of the camera right now, but the reality is I'll just continue doing it, and you get better with it. And for me personally, I'm an introvert. Didn't have many friends in school, didn't have many university friends or anything like that at all. So doing this, speaking to a vast number of people, is petrifying for me, right? But guess what? The market doesn't care how you feel. Nobody cares how you feel. Only you care. And I don't think you should care either. It's just about getting it done. And that's it. If you want to grow your business, whether it's online coaching, whether it's PTs, whether it's whatever it is, any sorts of thing that you have to sell, nobody should care about feelings. It's about just getting shit done. That's all it is. That's all it is, really. And for me personally, I started off during the pandemic, and it was the shittiest webcam. If you just, oh God, how embarrassing. My very first few videos, it was literally a webcam from a laptop, white background behind. I look pale as a sheet of paper because I haven't seen the sun for years. And it had to go through video after video after video. And what's interesting, and I'm so proud of it, is the fact that my very first video was shocking. My 50th video was a little bit better. My 100th video was a little bit better. Now I'm on 1,400 videos in, significantly better to what I was before. But a lot of people say, oh, is it quantity or is it quality, right? And in my opinion, start with quantity. Just start posting whatever. It doesn't matter. Even if you get 5 views a video, it does not matter. With time, it will start breeding quality. You will start playing around and seeing it. If you just make sure you look at your own videos, be like, oh, I could say this better. Oh, maybe I should have scripted. Or maybe I should change the background a little bit. Maybe the lighting could be better. The microphones could improve. You know, all of these sort of things. And it's so nice to see looking back. It's just like, good God, what was I thinking back then compared to where I am now?
So quantity beats quality. But what trumps overall is quality and quantity.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, you're never ever going to make a perfect video.
But you have to go through the quantity to know what actually works.
Yeah, and stop thinking what other people care. Like, don't worry about it. Don't worry if you're going to be laughed at or anything like that. Like, for me personally, gladly, I didn't have many friends to begin with, so it didn't really matter for me, honestly.
That's my advantage.
It's a big advantage because you don't care about what other people think, number one, and number two, you don't have many distractions, right? But a lot of people that I believe would be really great on social media, they're charismatic, they have the looks, they have everything, right? People are going to laugh at me. You know what? It's not going to work out. I'm too late, whatever. No, you're not too late. Social media is here to stay. The channels may change, the algorithm may change, but this is the new age, effectively. We're gone from radio and television onto this. And there's a lot of opportunity if you go for it.
And I would say, relating to you, I also was in a funny position because I told the closest 3 or 4 people around me, my closest friends, that I'm wanting to do this. They were all so encouraging. Now it put pressure on me to actually do it. Absolutely. I was thinking, what response are they going to have? Yeah. And everyone around me has always been, do you know how everyone often says, I've got all these haters around me? I don't even have any haters around me. I've got all these people that are so encouraging of me and wanting to do more. Yeah. Every time I'm doing something, it's like, oh, this is great, this is amazing, but improve this. Yeah. So I seem to have people around me that are happy to tell me what's shit and what's good. Yeah. Yeah. And that's very lucky.
So important as well. And I think also, I listen to Dave Goggins a lot, and he's made a very, very good quote last week that I watched, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, that makes a lot of sense. There is never going to be a hater that does better than you, ever. Yeah. Only people that will hate, be jealous, annoyed that you're doing something, always people that are not doing as good as you. I've never, ever had a hater that is a multi-millionaire. Yeah. I've never had a hater that is doing extremely well. You always have people that kind of wish they wanted to do what you're doing, right? So that's the first thing. And the second thing, I think is so important to have people that first of all, if they're going to give you criticism, it's coming from a good place. They want the best for you, right? Yeah. So by saying, hey, what you were wearing is ridiculous. Like my mom, for example, she's like, why did you not iron your shirt, right? And I'm like, oh, you know what? Fair enough, fine, because it's criticism, but it's coming from a good place. Whereas other people will be like, nah, you shouldn't do it, man. You're never going to work out. Come on, what are you thinking? That sort of thing. So figuring out who's there really to support you is important. And also things that change a little bit as well. Once you do start picking up steam, once your performance does tend to improve, you go from people discouraging you, doubting you, to all of a sudden asking for advice. Yeah. Those same people change all of a sudden. It's just like, oh, that's ironic, isn't it? So yeah.
And often, I find now, I check myself from giving someone advice. Someone asks me for advice. I used to give advice a lot of the times from my lens. So I used to give advice to someone, but think, what would work for me? But now advice, when you're, especially in business coaching, you learn there's so many different styles of learning, so many leadership styles. What's actually specific to that person, because it's not always what works for me. So you have to really tailor your advice to every person.
Well, here also with advice, and I want to hear your opinion on this as well. I used to be very open and helpful. I want to give everybody as much of advice as possible. However, I felt like if you give somebody a lot of advice, you feel like you're invested in that person, and they may not be as dedicated as you, they may not be as consistent as you, they may not even realize that this is not for them or whatever, they don't want to do it. I used to take that quite personally because, hey, I spent 2-3 hours with you, you haven't even done anything, right? Well, what the hell? So now I'm now to the point where I really think, should I give advice, or should I, hey, here's my videos, watch them, see for yourself?
My outlook is very stoic. So it's like, I can only control mine, which is giving. And giving makes me feel great. So if I just give without any expectation of return, because I can never expect anyone to do anything for me. So if I've done my bit, I can now leave that conversation and not put any more judgment on it. So, and that's generally my philosophy, because I'm not very, very observant, but I'm not judgmental.
Gotcha.
So I will take away the judgment. Why do I have to give it power? You know, they might not have acted on that advice, but it could have influenced them in some way. It could have changed their behavior in some way. So often action, and also your advice might be one of 10 different bits of advice they need to make action.
Makes sense.
So the same way someone had to consume your content, they also had to watch somebody else's content for them to decide.
Yeah. No, so that's true. That's true. I sometimes I make the mistake feeling, hey, everybody is as determined, as dedicated, and
I've made that.
Yeah. And all of a sudden you realize, you know what, it's probably, you know, I'm going to, you're absolutely right. Give advice without expecting anything. And if they don't,
I had to recently take a reality check because someone, I had a client book from Australia at 2 a.m. That's fine. I'll do it. Who else is going to do that?
Yeah.
I don't know anyone else who's going to do that. Would you put an alarm, wake up at 2, take the call and go back to sleep? Not many people would do that. No. So, and some people would look at me like, that's a bit weird. I'm like, well, I love that. I was excited. I wake up, I don't have an alarm when I wake up. I'm just excited. I've got an idea in my head and I just wake up.
Yeah.
So like, it's just also a different way of thinking. Yeah. I think you have to just beat your own drum.
Yeah, yeah. Which just goes to show every single one of us continue to learn, continue to evolve, continue to change, right? So that's what I've been struggling lately. And what you're saying makes perfect sense because, you know, if you give somebody advice without any expectation whatsoever, because I'm exactly the same as you, I like providing help whoever wants it, right? Yeah. Without any expectation, I think that makes a big difference.
I'll also say this, you know, recently I met someone who was far more intelligent and successful than me. And I had a conversation with this person. It was about 45 minutes. At the end of that conversation, I thought to myself, shit, I didn't get anything from that. He asked me everything. And this person was way smarter and way more successful. Yeah. And I realized the reason why he's so successful is because he is great at extracting, great at taking information and listening. Yeah. And because he asked me questions, I just answered. Yeah. And he kept asking questions. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And I was so busy giving these answers, and I realized the most intelligent people are amazing at extracting information.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's a reason why you have 2 ears and one mouth, and apparently, I've learned this myself. You can always learn something from someone, either what to do or what not to do. So no, you're absolutely right, and I think all of us should. I think personally, a lot of us. One of the most common words in the English dictionary is I, me. I. And if you just stop that and actually start listening to others, it will help a lot.
That's right.
A lot, for sure.
And so now you're on this finance journey on YouTube.
Yes.
What road are you going down? Are you going down the Graham Stephan road? Are you going down? Which path are you going down?
Good question.
Where's the direction for your YouTube? Because now, what worked for you to get 17K, obviously we can look at your analytics and be like, oh, this is a video that really is popular. What route is going to get you to 100K?
Yeah. I'm very, very passionate. And we can talk about passion on a different subject as well, but I'm very happy providing help and education to people that are slightly younger than me, who should, I believe there are so many lessons out there that have never been taught in school, especially when it comes, there's so many things like dating, finance, all these sort of things, right? If I can cover at least one of those topics, if I could speak to my younger self when I was 16, 17 years old, getting scammed, doing various things and whatever, and help my younger self, that's mission well done, right? I think too many people try to cover everyone, right? Until you're like really big, I think you should niche down a little bit. So started with Amazon FBA, very, very niche subject. Most people don't even know what it is. Now I'm niching down into the younger generation effectively and how to help them financially. And then who knows, once we reach 100,000, once again, through experimentation, through trial and error, we'll see. It might be general advice to everybody, or I might just stick to what works, right? Yeah. Because helping out the youngers right now is what has been working. So
your core mission sounds similar to mine, which is be the person that your younger self needed.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, absolutely. And see, for me personally, is because I've grown up without a father, nobody has taught me the money lessons. Nobody's taught me how to handle money, how to manage money, how to invest money, how to save money or anything like that. The only way I have learned how to save money is through fear, because I've grown up relatively poor. Ex-Soviet Union, Lithuania, who still has a lot of sort of beliefs of communist Russia, believe it or not. Yeah. I had to figure it out for myself, and having seen how poor life actually is, I'm like, I'll do whatever it takes never to be like that. And that's what pushed me to where I am right now. But I've never had somebody telling me, hey, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. All of everything I've learned, all of the real lessons that I had to learn has been through YouTube, weirdly.
How's Lithuania poor different to UK poor?
Oh God. UK poor is very much better. We have social housing, we have benefits and all these sort of things. Lithuania poor is poor where a pregnant woman is asking not for money but for food. You know what I mean? And it's very, very different. And I think a lot of people we like to complain in the UK about the weather. We like to complain about the government. We like to complain about money and taxes and all these sort of things. Still, until this day, as of right now, UK is still one of the best places to live on earth.
Yeah,
definitely. And I've traveled enough to know this. But yeah, and that's kind of one of the reasons why my parents have left Lithuania in the first place to come here to the UK and not know the language and so on and so forth. So it kind of pushed me as well, having seen how hard they work 6 days a week for years on end. Just like, I don't want this for me or my children, right? So I have to do something. And I realized that going to school didn't make much of a difference. Going to university, learning about macroeconomics and microeconomics, great, but it doesn't help me start a business. What do I need to do to start a business, right? So, okay, if nobody's going to teach me, I need to figure it out for myself.
So your advice is very much like, I love what you're saying because I can relate to it, because I feel like I grew up in more of obviously a richer poor than you, but I feel like that was our advantage.
Yeah.
And now when you're building a business, you've now understood all the different layers. What did you do for a job before lockdown?
First job was lifeguard, then in Virgin Active just down the road actually, then fitness coach. Yeah. Funny. And then moved into recruitment consulting for 7 years, which I fucking hated, and then got fired over Zoom during COVID.
I spent 7 years at Virgin Active.
Which one?
Multiple.
Multiple ones.
Sheffield.
Yeah.
A few in London.
Yeah.
A few different roles there as well. So
It's a grinder, to be honest. They're not exactly known for paying the best and stuff, but
it's leisure, because leisure is so low yielding. A lot of the times in these leisure businesses, like if a big Virgin Active building is making £500,000-600,000 profit after everything is paid, that's not a big business, is it?
Yeah.
So it's going to be low paid. That's why leisure relatively is low paid.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, anybody that is working a retail job right now or a low paid job, all you have to do is, if you don't make any changes whatsoever and you just continue doing it, look at the person that is 2-3 steps ahead of you. For example, for me personally, when I was a fitness coach, I was looking at what car my general manager was driving. It wasn't great, right? And if I stayed to where I was there, that was the steps that I was going to be at, right? So it's like, okay, I need to make active change, something, in order to change my trajectory effectively. So yeah.
And it is that, just thinking differently and wanting something bigger. I'm sure, I don't know if you've got a vision board or however you think bigger. Yeah. This, you a vision board guy?
Not a vision board. I'm a targets guy.
Okay.
I'm simple targets. What targets do I have financially, social media wise, and personal life wise in general? I think a lot of, especially when it comes to targets.
So are you goal orientated or journey orientated?
Ooh, good question. I am goal orientated, but I am tricking myself to enjoy the journey.
I'm the same.
If that makes sense.
I have to, because I don't naturally enjoy the journey. I want the goal. But the winners, we know this, are the ones that like the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. If somebody could give me the money, absolutely 100%. But I understand that I need to enjoy this. I need to enjoy social media.
I know a lot of people that would take the money, but would not be happy with it because they wanted the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those are the ones that really go far, because they tend to reinvest everything back into the business or whatever they're doing because they care about extending that journey and they don't care about the destination. I've got quite a few good friends who literally will drive the beat up car and they have 13 employees, and you will never realize that they're making how much money they're making, is because everything is reinvested back in the business. And it's purely because they're not money driven like myself, maybe yourself. They are trying to build something and make a legacy.
You've actually described me. I have a very old car. My car is, if you saw the dents in it, it's ridiculous. But recently when I was hiring staff, I had to constantly ask myself, car or staff? Car or staff? And every time now, my payroll bill is more than I was earning at Virgin Active, or more than I was earning at all these companies, and my car is absolutely trash.
Yeah.
But that's a part of you. That's a part of building.
Yeah.
You have to go through that pain, and I almost tell myself that I deserve this. I have to go through this pain, otherwise I don't deserve that reward.
Well, the thing is, do you see it as pain? Do you care about what car you have?
I enjoy it.
You do. Fair enough. But what I find interesting as well, and I'm sure you can relate as well, is that once you change the mindset, and once you go into the different trajectory, things can change very quickly. It's crazy to me to say that 3 years ago I was earning $2,500 a month. You know, now we have multiple 7-figure businesses.
That's correct.
In 3 years, right? Like if somebody told me that before, I'm just like, what on earth are you talking about? But it's just, if you just continuously reinvest back into the business, try to improve on everything you do, things can
And how
change.
do you think about money differently now that you've made money and you've seen money? So like, you know, when I was earning 2-3 grand a month and I would think about someone that's making £30,000 a month, my view on that person was very different. It was thinking like, oh, I bet they can just do what they want and live like this. But when you make that money, you don't actually think like that, do you?
I don't think like that at all. I still consider myself relatively poor, to be honest. And I think also accountability is really important. So just because you're paying yourself an X, certain amount of money should be put aside to investing, certain amount of money should be put aside to your education, and then certain amount of money should be put aside for desirables, for leisure and stuff like that. And you shouldn't feel guilty about it. This is why I think a lot of people, and this is a very well-known fact, people that come into money or people that have won lottery, if they don't have the right money habits, will just bunk it all away very, very quickly. So yeah, like for most people that I have met, if they have an increase in income, their expenses will increase as well. Key is to keep your expenses for low, just for an extended period of time, to really reap the rewards later.
What's been working for me is there's Guided Growth, that's the company. I'm an employee of this company. I'm currently head of sales, head of marketing, head of product, head of operations, head of all these different roles. And as I grow, I employ people to take these spots, and I move into a different role, and which is probably be sales and marketing and more vision. But initially, I'm doing a lot of these jobs. Web development, graphics. I'm doing some of them, but I have someone for that. So I'm an employee of my business.
Well, same thing. Ben Francis from Gymshark, he was the CEO. He started off doing pretty much everything. Now I think he's just in charge of campaigns and basically where the future is. Effectively, they have a much better CEO because he understands that there are certain people that will do a better job than you will. Like, I learned the basics of editing, but guess what? My videos have tremendously improved when I hired a full-time editor. Do you know what I mean? So same thing with sales negotiation and everything. Like, I'm good at speaking with the Chinese suppliers, but if I can employ an expert, it's money well spent, right? So,
I remember ordering equipment for my physiotherapy clinics from China, from Alibaba, and it being an atrocious experience.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. And the thing is also as well, I think when it comes to negotiation is you have to understand where they're coming from, their culture. We're speaking to somebody that's 7,000-8,000 miles away from us, right? So understanding is basically, I think what I'm trying to get at is whatever you do, if you understand the other side of whoever you're trying to speak to better, will help you so much.
Definitely. It's been really good speaking to you.
Appreciate it.
We'll find a time to do it again.
Oh yeah,
and I'm
100%.
sure we'll find a time to get our work out
There are
as well.
so many more things we can discuss.
Okay,
but
I look forward to it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe to the video. If you want to share it with a friend, it's really going to help the algorithm. I'm trying to grow this podcast. I'm trying to get to my first 20 episodes because that motivating piece of seeing feedback from the viewers is going to do me a lot of good. So please give me that feedback. Comment below on your thoughts and stay hungry, not thirsty.